Our top story this morning, U.S. President Donald Trump has heaped more tariffs on Canada, that is, with a 25% duty on steel and aluminum now in effect. And this comes as Premier Doug Ford is preparing to meet with the U.S. Commerce Secretary tomorrow.
For the latest on the trade war, let's go live to CP24's Sija Liu at Queen's Park. I'm sure it'll be another busy day there, Sija. It comes on the heels of Donald Trump calling Premier Ford a strong man, a gentleman, respectful in the way some of the conversations went yesterday. So the Premier will be busy today again.
Yeah, who knew that was going to happen, considering all things that has been happening with the volatility, with the trade war. But things yesterday started very differently, and Donald Trump certainly was not calling Doug Ford a very respectful man in the morning. That was when he threatened to double the steel and aluminum tariffs to 50%. We know they went into effect today, still at 25%, but he was saying he was going to double it. That was because Doug Ford had put a 25% tax on electricity that is sent to the U.S. earlier in the week. But tensions began to cool after Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, gave Doug Ford a call, and they said they had a very constructive conversation. Lutnick invited Doug Ford to come to Washington, D.C. on Thursday to meet. Doug Ford will be heading down there with Federal Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc. They'll be talking about the tariff war, of course, along with a trying to renew the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade deal before the April 2nd tariff deadline that is still expected to come into effect. Here's more from Doug Ford on how he hopes that meeting will go.
I think the Premier's actually been pretty tone perfect, the way he's dealt with this whole crisis, from the commercials that Ontario has done to his appearances on both Fox Network and other networks, as well as the sort of mainstream media. I think he's handled things pretty well. Going down with the premiers to meet with his governor counterparts, all this will ultimately pay off. But for now, we're in a difficult situation.
And that was Colin Robertson, a former Canadian diplomat, reacting on Doug Ford's response. As for what Ford is doing today ahead of this meeting, he is expected to meet with Mark Carney, the new Liberal leader and Prime Minister-designate, for a breakfast meeting this morning. We're hoping to get a response on how that goes very shortly here. But a very busy day ahead. And Beatrice, Courtney, if we learned anything from yesterday, anything can happen in one day when it comes to these tariff wars.